So you're probably wondering, what exactly is Alberta corruption? Some kind of Nazi movement or some kind of conspiracy theory or pyramid scheme? Alberta corruption is all of that and more. No, seriously, Alberta corruption is an organization to create fair, political free, and philosophically deep education. Now, I want you to consider the following. If you positively think things can only get better and better, now, what if I were to tell you that I got this lesson from the Church of Scientology? Most people probably wouldn't have much trouble laughing it off as fairly ridiculous. Now, what if I were to tell you that it's not from the Church of Scientology? It's from Alberta Education, and this is what they're teaching to grade 12 students in Career and Life Management on Module 3, page 27. So, if a lesson this bad is being taught in grade 12, how many other lessons like this are there? Let's find out, how deep does the rabbit hole go? Or in this case, the hole of education. Whole as in like totality. That's a joke. Jokes are funny, you can tell, indicated by the laughter. Alright, so let's get to the main course of Alberta corruption. This is going to be political indoctrination in schools. Now, if you remember back in social studies, they taught you that one of the ways governments attempt to control a population is by propagandizing and indoctrinating the youth in schools. So, for example, a Nazi government would indoctrinate the students into Nazi ideology. A communist government would indoctrinate the students into a communist ideology. Now, we live in a democracy. What do you think the government would be attempting to indoctrinate us into, if anything? Now, that might sound like some kind of crazy conspiracy theory, but it's actually not a conspiracy at all. All I'm going to be doing is showing you what your teachers are supposed to teach through the law, through the school textbooks, and the school curriculum. In fact, I encourage you to find any teacher you consider to be honest and unbiased, and to ask them whether I'm misrepresenting what the textbooks, the law, and the curriculum are trying to say. Maybe Alberta Education really is attempting to indoctrinate students. Maybe I'm attempting to indoctrinate you right now. You ever think about that? Ask any teacher or educator in Alberta what is the most important legislation with regards to teaching. And I can almost guarantee you they're going to cite
the School Act.
The School Act Section 39.1 Ministerial Order Number 001, which is also the policies and standards of Alberta Education. It states that the fundamental mission of Alberta Education is to create ethical citizens, whereas an ethical citizen is committed to democratic ideals. Your teacher's job is to teach school curriculum. School curriculum are legal documents and are mandatory to teach. Let's take a look at the social studies curriculum, page 1. I'm only going to go over one example. I'm going to bore you. The role of social studies. Social studies develops the key values and attitudes to become active and responsible citizens engaged in the democratic process. Don't worry, if you think this video is getting boring, I promise by the end of it I will hit myself in the face with a pie. There is currently a new curriculum under construction, and you would think that the new curriculum would be superior to the old curriculum. But in fact, it's actually stepping up political indoctrination substantially. If you got one of these cards here, these cards actually quoting the new curriculum. On page 8, it states, students as ethical and engaged citizens develop respect for democratic principles and processes for decision making. So what's even the issue with indoctrinating students into democracy? Isn't democracy the best system anyways? Now that sounds an awful lot like a big idea, and when I hear big ideas, I think of something called TED. I don't know if any of you have heard of TED Talks, but I gave a TED Talk. Let's listen to my TED Talk. Today, kids are growing up without any morals. The culprit? This. I blame this. Is it any wonder our kids are going out and axe murdering people? Now let's get on to the main TED of this talk. What is the issue with democratic indoctrination? The overwhelming majority of Canadians claim not to get their morality from reason. If the majority of people are claiming to be unreasonable, we should probably believe them. This is why in Canada, people get longer jail sentences for completely consenting incest between adults than for beating a stranger nearly to death with an iron rod for no reason. Now, they only gave me 30 minutes to do this TED Talk. They should have given me at least 30,000 hours. Now, democratic indoctrination is not the only type of political indoctrination that takes place through public education. There are many other ideas that students are being brainwashed into, such as pseudo-feminism and capitalist and corporate thinking, to name a few. We'll be right back after these commercials. Alberta Corruption is brought to you by Subway. Eat fast.
I put together some really impressive deals, but this thing you've pulled off, it's amazing. A big and tasty for just $1? How do you do it? What's your secret?
Alberta's Education Act sets out a vision. It is about making educational decisions based on the best interests of the student. A value system that promotes the development of engaged thinkers and ethical citizens with an entrepreneurial spirit.
Well, that's what the rest of this website is about. I encourage you to explore the information, and I'm going to be giving you substantially more evidence that the claims I'm making are actually true. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to contact me using the contact page or the forum page, or you can even leave a comment right here on YouTube. All right, and here's your pi. Get it? Pi 3.14.
This whole act